It's 4 o'clock. Welcome. Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing? It's been a week. What's new? We're back for my Harry Potter reading sessions. Chapter 8 today, I think. I can't wait. I wanted to start this week off with a special thank you to someone who I think is watching named Danielle. Danielle sent me the other 3 hardcover books in the Harry Potter series. It was an incredibly generous gift. So we got Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban, and Harry Potter in the Chamber of Secrets to go along with my Philosopher's Stone. There are only 4 hardcover books in the series, hardcover illustrated books, and I've got them all now. Thank you to Danielle. I can't believe it. She was so generous, and I'm incredibly grateful. And I did some math. So I added up all of the chapters in all of the books, and including the Philosopher's Stone, the 4 books together have 94 chapters. So we are on chapter 8 this week. So let's say 94 minus 8 is what? 86. Divide that by 52, and that gives you about 100 or 1.65. So technically we can read for the next 1.65 years every Sunday. Ugh, that's a long time. That's a big commitment. I'm not sure if I'm ready for that. Hopefully COVID doesn't go that long. But if it does, I guess we've got the material to outlast it. Anyways, today, again, thank you, Danielle. I really appreciate it. You didn't have to do that. But yes! Okay. Whew! Well, let's get going here. We're on chapter 8. And chapter 8 is called The Potions Master. I can't believe you bought me these books. That's like that's a really nice gift. All right. The Potions Master. Ready? Can you guys hear me okay? Hope so. I've been talking for a while. There's a lot of hearts popping up on the screen, so I assume that means yes. There. Look. Where? Next to the tall kid with the red hair. Wearing the glasses. Did you see his face? Did you see his scar? Whispers followed Harry from the moment he left the dormitory next day. People queuing outside classrooms stood on tiptoe to get a look at him, or doubled back to pass him in the corridors again, staring. Harry wished they wouldn't, because he was trying to concentrate on finding his way to classes. There were 142 staircases at Hogwarts, wide, sweeping ones, narrow, rickety ones, some that led somewhere different on a Friday, some with a vanishing step halfway up that you had to remember to jump. Then there were doors that wouldn't open unless you asked politely or tickled them in exactly the right place, and doors that weren't really doors at all, but solid walls just pretending. It was also very hard to remember where anything was, because it all seemed to move around a lot. The people in the portraits kept going to visit each other, and Harry was sure the coats of armor could walk. The ghost didn't help either. It was always a nasty shock when one of them glided suddenly through a door you were trying to open. Nearly Headless Nick was always happy to point new Gryffindors in the right direction, but Peeves the Poltergeist was worth 2 locked doors and a trick staircase if you met him when you were late for class. He would drop waste paper baskets on your head, pull rugs from under your feet, pelt you with bits of chalk, or sneak up behind you, invisible, grab your nose and screech, "Got your conch!" Even worse than Peeves, if that was possible, was the caretaker, Argus Filch. Harry and Ron managed to get on the wrong side of him on their very first morning. Filch found them trying to force their way through a door which unluckily turned out to be the entrance to the out-of-bounds corridor on the 3rd floor. He wouldn't believe they were lost, was sure they were trying to break into it on purpose, and was threatening to lock them in the dungeons when they were rescued by Professor Quirrell, who was passing. Filch owned a cat called Mrs. Norris, a scrawny, dust-colored creature with bulging, lamp-like eyes just like Filch's. She patrolled the corridors alone. Break a rule in front of her, just put one toe out of line, and she'd whisk off for Filch, who'd appear, wheezing, just 2 seconds later. Filch knew the secret passageways of the school better than anyone, except perhaps the Weasley twins, and could pop up as suddenly as any of the ghosts. The students all hated him, and it was the dearest ambition of many to give Mrs. Norris a good kick. And then, once you had managed to find them, there were the lessons themselves. There was a lot more to magic, as Harry quickly found out, than waving your wand and saying a few funny words. They had to study the night skies through their telescopes every Wednesday at midnight, and learn the names of different stars and the movements of the planets. 3 times a week, they went out to the greenhouses behind this castle to study herbology with a dumpy little witch called Professor Sprout, where they learnt how to take care of all the strange plants and fungi and found out what they were used for. Easily the most boring lesson was History of Magic, which was the only class taught by a ghost. Professor Binns had been very old indeed when he had fallen asleep in front of the staff room fire and got up next morning to teach, leaving his body behind him. Binns droned on and on while they scribbled down names and dates and got Emmerich the Evil and Uruk the Oddball mixed up. Professor Flitwick, the charms teacher, was a tiny little wizard who had to stand on a pile of books to see over the desk. At the start of their first lesson, he took the register, and when he reached Harry's name, he gave an excited squeak and toppled out of sight. Professor McGonagall was again different. Harry had been quite right to think she wasn't a teacher to cross. Strict and clever, she gave them a talking to the moment they sat down in her first class. Transfiguration is some of the most complex and dangerous magic you will learn at Hogwarts, she said. Anyone messing around in my class will leave and not come back. You have been warned. Then she changed her desk into a pig and back again. They were all very impressed and couldn't wait to get started, but soon realized they weren't going to be changing the furniture into animals for a long time. After making a lot of complicated notes, they were given a match and started trying to turn it into a needle. By the end of the lesson, only Hermione Granger had made any difference to her match. Professor McGonagall showed the class who it had gone all silver and pointy and gave Hermione a rare smile. The class everyone had really been looking forward to was Defense Against the Dark Arts. But Quirrell's lessons turned out to be a bit of a joke. His classroom smelled strongly of garlic, which everyone said was to ward off a vampire he'd met in Romania, and was afraid would be coming back to get him one of these days. His turban, he told them, had been given to him by an African prince as a thank you for getting rid of a troublesome zombie. But they weren't sure they believed his story. For one thing, when Seamus Finnegan asked eagerly to hear how Quirrell had fought off the zombie, Quirrell went pink and started talking about the weather. For another, they had noticed that a funny smell hung around the turban, and the Weasley twins insisted that it was stuffed full of garlic as well, so that Quirrell was protected wherever he went. Harry was very relieved to find out that he wasn't miles behind everyone else. Lots of people had come from Muggle families, and like him, hadn't had any idea that they were witches or wizards. There was so much to learn that even people like Ron didn't have much of a head start. Friday was an important day for Harry and Ron. They finally managed to find their way down to the Great Hall for breakfast without getting lost once. "What have we got today?" Harry asked Ron as he poured sugar on his porridge. "Double potions with the Slytherin," said Ron. "Snape's head of Slytherin house. They say he always favors them. We'll be able to see if it's true." "Wish McGonagall favored us," said Harry. Professor McGonagall was head of Gryffindor house, but it hadn't stopped her from giving them a huge pile of homework the day before. Just then, the post arrived. Harry had got used to this by now, but it had given him a bit of a shock on the first morning, when about 100 owls had suddenly streamed into the Great Hall during breakfast, circling the tables until they saw their owners and dropping letters and packages onto their laps. Hedwig hadn't brought Harry anything so far. She sometimes flew in to nibble his ear and have a bit of toast before going off to sleep in the owlery with the other school owls. This morning, however, she fluttered down between the marmalade and the sugar bowl and dropped a note on Harry's plate. Harry tore it open. "Dear Harry," it said in a very untidy scrawl, "I know you get Friday afternoons off, so would you like to come and have a cup of tea with me around 3? I want to hear all about your first week. Send us an answer back with Hedwig. Sincerely, Hagrid." Let me just quickly show you the Potions Master. Harry borrowed Ron's quill, scribbled "Yes, please, see you later" on the back of the note, and sent Hedwig off again. It was lucky that Harry had tea with Hagrid to look forward to, because the potions lesson turned out to be the worst thing that had happened to him so far. At the start of term banquet, Harry had got the idea that Professor Snape disliked him. And by the end of the first potions lesson, he knew he'd been wrong. Snape didn't dislike Harry, he hated him. Potions lessons took place down in one of the dungeons. It was colder here than up in the main castle. It would have been quite creepy enough without all the pickled animals floating in glass jars all around the walls. Snape, like Flitwick, started the class by taking the register, and like Flitwick, he paused at Harry's name. "Ah, yes," he said softly. "Harry Potter, our new celebrity." Draco Malfoy and his friends Crabbe and Goyle snickered behind their hands. Snape finished calling the names and looked up at the class. His eyes were black like Hagrid's, but they had none of Hagrid's warmth. They were cold and empty and made you think of dark tunnels. "You are here to learn the subtle science and exact art of potion making," he began. He spoke in barely more than a whisper, but they caught every word. Like Professor McGonagall, Snape had the gift of keeping a class silent without effort. "As there is a little foolish wand waving here, many of you will hardly believe this is magic. I don't expect you will really remember the beauty of the soft, simmering cauldron with its shimmering fumes, the delicate powers of liquids that creep through human veins, bewitching the mind, ensnaring the senses. I can teach you how to bottle fame, brew glory, even stop her death, if you aren't as big as a bunch of dunderheads as I usually have to teach." More silence followed this little speech. Harry and Ron exchanged looks with raised eyebrows. Hermione Granger was on the edge of her seat and looked desperate to start proving that she wasn't a dunderhead. "Potter," said Snape suddenly, "what would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood?" "Powdered root of what? To an infusion of, huh?" Harry glanced at Ron, who looked as stumped as he was. Hermione Granger's hand was shot into the air. "I don't know, sir," said Harry. Snape's lips curled into a sneer. "Tut, tut. Fame clearly isn't everything." He ignored Hermione's hand. "Let's try again, Potter. Where would you look if I told you to find me a Bezoar? Hermione stretched her hand as high into the air as it would go without her leaving her seat, but Harry didn't have the faintest idea what a Bezoar was. He tried not to look at Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle, who were shaking with laughter. "I don't know, sir. Thought you would open a book before coming, eh, Potter? Or thought you wouldn't open a book before coming, eh, Potter?" Harry forced himself to keep looking straight into those cold eyes. He had looked through his books at the Dursleys, but did Snape expect him to remember everything in 1,000 magical herbs and fungi? Snape was still ignoring Hermione's quivering hand. "What is the difference, Potter, between monkshod and wolfsbane?" At this, Hermione stood up, her hand stretching towards the dungeon ceiling. "I don't know," said Harry quietly. "I think Hermione does, though. Why don't you try her?" A few people laughed. Harry caught Seamus's eye, and Seamus winked. Snape, however, was not pleased. "Sit down," he snapped at Hermione. "For your information, Potter, asphodel and wormwood make a sleeping potion so powerful it is known as the draught of living death. A bezoar is a stone taken from the stomach of a goat, and it will save you from most poisons. As for monkshod and wolfsbane, they're the same plant, which also goes by the name of aconite. Well, aren't you all copying that down?" I don't know what these words are. I don't know how to pronounce them, sorry. There was a sudden rummaging for quills and parchment. Over the noise, Snape said, "And a point will be taken from Gryffindor house for your cheek, Potter." Things didn't improve for the Gryffindors as the potion lesson continued. Snape put them all into pairs and set them into mixing up a simple potion to cure boils. He swept around in his long black cloak, watching them wade dried nettles and crush snake fangs, criticizing almost everyone except Malfoy, who he seemed to like. He was just telling everyone to look at the perfect way Malfoy had stewed his horned slugs when clouds of acid green smoke and a loud hissing filled the dungeon. Neville had somehow managed to melt Seamus's cauldron into a twisted blob, and their potion was seeping across the stone floor, burning holes in people's shoes. Within seconds, the whole class were standing on their stools, while Neville, who had been drenched in the potion when the cauldron collapsed, moaned in pain as angry red boils sprang up all over his arms and legs. "Idiot boy," snarled Snape, clearing the spilled potion away with one wave of his wand. "I suppose you added the porcupine quills before taking the cauldron off the fire." Neville whimpered as boils started to pop up all over his nose. "Take him to the hospital wing," Snape spat at Seamus. Then he rounded on Harry and Ron, who had been working next to Neville. "You, Potter, why didn't you tell him not to add the quills?" Thought he'd make you look good if you got it wrong, did you? That's another point you've lost for Gryffindor. This was so unfair that Harry opened his mouth to argue, but Ron kicked him behind their cauldron. Don't push it, he muttered. I've heard Snape can turn very nasty. You guys saw my photo this week, obviously. Snape, very nasty. Thanks, Roman. As they climbed the steps out of the dungeon an hour later, Harry's mind was racing and his spirits were low. He'd lost 2 points for Gryffindor in his very first week. Why did Snape hate him so much? Cheer up, said Ron. Snape's always taking points off Fred and George. Can I come and meet Hagrid with you? At 5 to 3, they left the castle and made their way across the grounds. Hagrid lived in a small wooden house on the edge of the Forbidden Forest. A crossbow and pair of galoshes were outside the front door. When Harry knocked, they heard a frantic scrambling inside and several booming barks. Then Hagrid's voice rang out, saying, "Back, Fang, back!" Hagrid's hairy face appeared in the crack as he pulled the door open. "Hang on," he said. "Back, Fang." Excuse me. He let them in, struggling to keep a hold of the collar of an enormous black boarhound. There was only one room inside. Hams and pheasants were hanging from the ceiling. A copper kettle was boiling on an open fire, and in the corner stood a massive bed with a patchwork quilt over it. "Make yourselves at home," said Hagrid, letting go of Fang, who bounded straight at Ron and started licking his ears. There was no illustrations of that, but this looks like Hagrid's house. Where the hell is his tea? Good question. I actually didn't have time to make it today, so I just have a water. Oh my god, this chapter is so short. Hagrid! Fang was clearly not as fierce as he looked. This is Ron, Harry told Hagrid, who was pouring boiling water into a large teapot and putting rock cakes onto a plate. "Another Weasley, eh?" said Hagrid, glancing at Ron's freckles. "I spent half my life chasing your twin brothers away from the forest." The rock cakes almost broke their teeth, but Harry and Ron pretended to be enjoying them as they told Hagrid all about their first lessons. Fang rested his head on Harry's knee and drooled all over his robes. Harry and Ron were delighted to hear Hagrid call Filch that old git. And as for that cat, Mrs. Norris, I'd like to introduce her to Fang sometime. You know, every time I go up to the school, she follows me everywhere. Can't get rid of her. Filch puts her up to it. Harry told Hagrid about Snape's lesson. Hagrid, like Ron, told Harry not to worry about it, that Snape liked hardly any of the students. But he really seemed to really hate me. "Rubbish," said Hagrid. "Why should he?" Yet Harry couldn't help thinking that Hagrid didn't quite meet his eyes when he said that. "How's your brother Charlie?" Hagrid asked Ron. "I liked him a lot. Great with animals." Harry wondered if Hagrid had changed the subject on purpose. While Ron told Hagrid all about Charlie's work with dragons, Harry picked up a piece of paper that was lying on the table under the tea cozy. It was a cutting from the Daily Prophet. "Gringotts break-in latest. Investigations continue into the break-in at Gringotts on 31 July, widely believed to be the work of dark wizards or witches unknown. Gringotts goblins today insisted that nothing had been taken. The vault that was searched had in fact been emptied that same day. But we're not telling you what was in there, so keep your noses out of it if you know what's good for you," said a Gringotts spokesgoblin this afternoon. Harry remembered Ron telling him on the train that someone had tried to rob Gringotts, but Ron hadn't mentioned the date. "Hagrid," said Harry, "that Gringotts break-in happened on my birthday. It might have been happening while we were there." There was no doubt about it. Hagrid definitely didn't meet Harry's eyes this time. He grunted and offered him another rock cake. Harry read the story again. The vault that was searched had in fact been emptied earlier that same day. Hagrid had emptied Vault 713, if you could call it emptying, taking out that little grubby package. Had that been what the thieves were looking for? As Harry and Ron walked back to the castle for dinner, their pockets weighed down with rock cakes they'd been too polite to refuse. Harry thought that none of the lessons he'd had so far had given him as much to think about as tea with Hagrid. Had Hagrid collected that package just in time? Where was it now? And did Hagrid know something about Snape that he didn't want to tell Harry? Believe it or not, that's the end of the chapter. Looks like I get a little break today. Well, you know what that means? I get 10 minutes of video chat time if you guys want to maybe do that. 9. This is a great book. Did I mention that I have all of them now? Hardcover, illustrated? Thanks, Danielle. Do you guys want to go live or whatever you call it? Live stream, video conference thing? Who's around? Yeah. Let's see. I'm in the middle of making a cake if you want to see it. Yeah, obviously. Okay. Laura, librarian.
Hello.
Yes. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Okay, let's see the cake.
All right. Let's see if I can turn the camera around. Actually, I don't know if I wait. Yes, here we go.
Oh.
So this is called a Duclos. It's a French meringue cake with coffee cream and a ganache on top.
Well, who gets to eat
Here's
that?
a picture. What?
Who gets to eat it?
Me. It was supposed to be for an outdoor birthday picnic we were supposed to have for my sister, but that got canceled. So no, it's just for me.
That's so awesome.
Thank you.
You're so talented. Holy crap.
Thank you. Also, I finished the painting that I was working on when we last chatted.
Yeah, okay. Do you have it handy?
It's just in the other room.
Oh, well, if you want to show me, awesome. If not, no pressure.
Yeah. Let's see. Here we go. Little let me turn on the light.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow, you're so talented.
Thank you.
Kind of looks like that tree from Harry Potter, actually.
You know, it does. Maybe while I was working on it, Harry Potter, listening to Harry Potter, it was just there.
That's so cool. Oh my God. Well, thank you so much for showing me that. How are you doing? You hanging in there?
Good. Yeah, I'm hanging in here. I'm just trying to keep busy.
Yeah.
And thankfully I get to work from home. So I'm glad that I still have a job at least. I might get to go back this coming week, so.
Oh, okay, awesome.
I'm very excited about that. And I'm gardening now, so that's new.
Well, it's that time of year. It's been raining a lot in Vancouver this week, but it's supposed to get awesome next week, I think, and then it's full on gardening season.
Yes. I don't have a yard, I just have a porch, so everything is on my porch. I think I've spent maybe $200 on gardening stuff in the last couple of weeks.
Oh,
I don't know if that's about average or.
It's funny, like, yeah, that stuff can add up really quick, even if you're just planting on a patio or inside your house or whatever. Seeds and pots and soil and, whatever you're getting.
It really does. Like, I messaged my dad because he had a garden a couple of years back. I'm like, what do you have lying you're not using? I will take it.
That's awesome. Sweet. Well, Laura, super good to see you. I'm gonna let you go because I'm gonna move on to somebody else here. But thank you again. And your cake looks so delicious. Enjoy eating that.
Thank you.
You're so talented.
Thank you. All right.
Have a great afternoon, okay?
You too. Bye.
Okay, bye. Wow, that looked like a delicious cake. And that painting was amazing. Okay, who else wants to be in this thing? Hey. Come on, sorry, the button on my phone's not working. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Dad. How you doing, Matt Webb?
Really good, Matt. How are you, man?
I'm good. I miss you. How are you holding up? Well, I've been watching you read Harry Potter all the time, and I just sent you a gift that I made. It took me a really long time, so I look forward to seeing your reaction to that. It's pretty special. I'll make sure I share it with everyone after.
Oh my goodness, I can't wait to see it.
How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Can you hear me okay? Sorry, it's a little staticky.
I can. Oh, no worries. Give me 1 second. I have a train
Oh,
happening outside my window.
fine. No, don't worry, man. It's all good. I can hear you fine. It's all good.
Good, good, good. What have you been
Um,
up to in your daytimes? What have you been keeping up to other than biking from here to? It's funny you've been biking all these different places, and yet I keep looking out my window to see you biking past to like bring me stuff, or but yet you must be biking so fast that I just can't see it.
yeah, a lot of biking. The spandex makes you go a lot faster.
Oh yeah.
So um,
I'm not
I've
even
been
gonna,
trying
I'm
to
not
get
even gonna touch that one.
I'm gonna try and get Alex into that too. We're slowly converting him. It's awesome.
Oh no,
Um,
trust me, I've spent a long time slowly converting Alex, so don't
I'm
don't
sure
even
you
start. Yeah.
what else, man? No, not much. Just hanging out. I don't know, like reading, writing, playing music, eating food.
Yeah.
That's really it. We baked a pie this morning. Baked pie last night too. Just a lot
Ooh,
of pie.
I want to see a photo of it.
I'll send you one.
Oh, great. What kind of pie is it?
This morning's was a blackberry because that was what we had in the freezer.
Ooh,
Yeah.
gosh. Oh, that's so exciting. It's so nice to see you, dude. I haven't seen you in ages. I'm trying to think when the last time that we ran into each other, but I think it was at the label and you were doing the fitting for one of the music videos that you were doing. And I saw you in the sound stage. And
Oh
you're like,
yeah.
oh, Matt, we're doing this fitting. Can you help me get into these really tight pants? And I said, no, Matt, I can't keep doing that over and over again. Yeah, it was one of those typical
That
things
happened.
between the two of us.
That did happen. Did you what have you been doing? I noticed you've been baking a lot.
Yeah, I've been baking, and my poor partner gets to eat all of it. I've actually been
Poor guy, man.
I've lost 10 pounds in quarantine, which I'm thrilled about. So I've somehow
Really?
managed to. Honestly, I've been baking so much, and it's just like baking and then like going for nature walks. And
Yeah.
baking, honestly, I burn a lot of calories because it takes so much time, and then I just don't eat it. So that's a pretty nice system I have going there. But yeah, everything's been good. The album's been done for a long time, so I've been trying not to write because I don't want to like you understand the process where it's done and then you start to hate it, and I don't want to hate it before I need it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm just chilling for a little bit, but yeah, man, everything's going good. So what have you been writing? Are you writing Trench stuff? Are you writing more Matt Webb stuff? I hope you're not writing more Matt Webb stuff because I would need to be involved with that because again and again seems to be like a pretty outstanding bop, and I mean that's it.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. No, honestly, man, like just it's such a wonderful time to be creative right now in all capacity. Like I find myself like I'm like physically like writing like whatever, just words. I'm writing
Love
lyrics,
letters to
I'm
Matthew V.
songs.
You're going to drop off on your bike ride. Understood.
Letters to Matthew V for the bike ride. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just like we all got a lot of time on our hands, man. Just trying to navigate through this bizarre time, and yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's weird, man. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all good, man. I totally cut you off.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, it's such a strange time, like, to be in the music industry, like, with all no concerts and stuff in our foreseeable future.
Tell me about
very, like, it's a little scary,
I was mid-tour, like, I was show 2 of 6, and then everything started getting shut down, and I was making phone calls to, like, my agent, to the other acts on the tour, to my band. I was like, are we getting on a flight in 2 hours, or are we not getting on a flight in 2 hours?
That was when you were with Rhea, right?
No, that was with Ralph. So
with Ralph, yeah.
The Rhea tour, we made all 17 dates, and then like right after date 2 for the Ralph tour, we were heading to the airport, and they were like, "Nope, don't do it." And I was like, "Okay, well, I guess we'll figure it all out as we go." But yeah, strange things are going to shift. I'm trying to figure out what the business model looks like, but
I know, me too.
Yeah, but I mean, I would drop $10 to watch Matt Webb read Harry Potter. So there's a nice side hustle there.
I could be charging for this.
Yeah. Oh no, everyone's gonna hate me now. No, it wasn't me.
Did you see? It's funny. I was looking online the other day, and apparently, like Jan Arden is taking is doing like personal requests where you can pay $65 and she'll like do a shout out to you or to whomever you want. And I was like, $65, eh?
Oh, I'm on Cameo, which is like you do personalized fan videos, but mine's like
Yeah.
$10. I mean, I realize that I'm not Jan Arden, although all the time on the street people stop me. They're like, Jan Arden, oh my god, I love your music.
The resemblance is uncanny.
Well, actually, my drag name will be Man Arden, so it's everything's really cohesive. But yeah, $65. I don't know if I would. I mean, hey, maybe I'll go and buy Matt Webb a shout out from Jan Arden for $65. I've been saving up all my pennies for you, Matt.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh god, dude, you look good, man. The glasses are great. I like.
Thanks, man.
I like
I've been trying not to wear contacts. Allergy season's kind of kicking me in the
crushing
ass.
me.
So.
Yeah, it's crushing me right now.
The level of pollen is far too much. But so yeah, I've been giving my eyeballs a bit of a break and might go for a nice little walk on the boardwalk out here. And yeah, everything's all good. Surviving well.
Good, man. Me too.
But yeah, thanks for letting me pop in the chat, man. And tell everyone.
Of course, but is there anything you need to get out there? You got any stuff coming out or anything we need to promote or anything like that?
You're always so sweet to me, Matt. I got a new single coming out on Friday, which you're all hearing. Y'all heard that first. I'm gonna announce the artwork tomorrow, and hopefully it sounds half decent, and we'll go from there. But thanks for having me, Matt. I look forward to watching you bike past my house, and yeah, I'll talk to you soon. And check out that graphic that I made. It took me forever.
I will for sure, man.
And it's absolutely hilarious. Okay,
Matthew P, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye,
you heard
guys.
it here first. New single Friday.
Yes, thanks, Matt.
Well, you didn't hear it here first, but whatever. What a guy. Oh, I love that dude. What a guy. Should we do one more? Who's up? Who the hell are these people? Who else wants to be in my life? Fuck. Work button. Okay, who are you? Marissa. 999991. Matt, what made you decide to have long hair? I want to cut it so badly. I'm gonna chop it as soon as my hairdresser is open. I'm chopping it. I might be able to donate it actually. I think it's long enough. Anybody? Marissa 9991 waiting. Okay, it's not picking up. Yeah, I'm not joking. I'm serious. I'm thinking about. I texted my hairdresser. His name's Steve, and I was like, "Dude, Steven, we have to cut my hair ASAP. And as soon as your salon is open, please let me know, and I'll come down with a mask." And he's gonna let me know. But I really want to cut it. It's long, man. It's like down to the middle of my back. My hair has never been this long. I talk about this every day, but with each passing week, it gets more and more horrible, and starting to look like a very, I don't know, just like a 80s rocker, and it's not the 80s anymore. You can get a buzz cut. Okay, I will. All right, well, you know what? I'm gonna wrap it up. I gotta go. 4:30. Got some shit to do. Got a Zoom trivia night tonight with some pals, I think. That was a great short chapter. Thank you, Harry Potter, for writing that, or J.K. Rowling for writing that. Very short chapter. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Oh, DJ George Toms. Great to see you. Bye. Yeah, thanks for a great sesh, and we'll see you guys on next Sunday for more of the same shenanigans. Until then, I've been Matt Webb, and this is my living room. Goodbye. Okay, now goodbye.